What's up, everybody? It's your boy again, and I saw an article on Twitter not too long ago. It kind of reverberated along with some things that I've said in a lot of these recent Toyges videos. If you've seen them, you already know what I'm talking about. Let's get into it. Adults are buying toys for themselves, and it's the biggest source of growth for the industry by Sarah Whitten. Like I've already said in some of these other videos, it's kind of, sad and all that. I'm going out, I'm buying these toys. I'm a 40-year-old neckbeard virgin, but you don't see kids buying these toys. You see these toys kind of sitting on the shelves, sitting on the pegs. They're not moving unless it's some neckbeard with a boner for nostalgia and frankly too much disposable income and time on their hands. Anyway, let's take a look at this article and kind of get into it and go from there. Kidults have a great fondness for cartoons, Star Wars, and Lego. In recent years, toy makers such as Mattel have created lines just for these consumers. These kids at heart are responsible for 1/4 of all toy sales annually. And I'm going to throw in here, just for the heck of it, I actually think that's downplaying it. My, completely uneducated guess is it's more like half. It's more like half of all toy sales. Anyway, there are two things keeping the toy industry afloat right now. Wow, inflation's doing that too. Okay, let's continue on. Inflation and a consumer group known as Kidults. Some journalist has had their grubby little hands on this story when they get to think up cute little phrases and mash together words like Brangelina. That's how they put their stamp on it. That's the contribution journalists usually make. These kids at heart are responsible for 1/4 of all toy sales annually, around $9 billion worth, and are the biggest driver of growth throughout the industry, according to data from the NPD group. Like I've said, I think it's more like half. Those other numbers there kind of correlate with that too. Anyway, continuing on, this cohort, which NDP defines as ages 12 and older, has been steadily contributing to the industry for years, but spending has accelerated in the wake of the pandemic, leading to year-over-year gains despite tough comparisons. So that's basically saying, hey, shit's getting bad, and people like me, honestly, we're diving into our hobbies headfirst to kind of get away from the reality of things. That's my take on it. Anyway, it's an important moment for the toy industry too, with the holiday season upon us. While sales surged across the board for board games, puzzles, and playsets during the pandemic, the first 9 months of 2022 saw a 3% decline in sales volume. Higher toy prices helped outweigh those losses, as sales revenue for the time period jumped 3%, NPD reported. Kidults, who tend to spend more on toys as compared to normal adults. Also, I just want to throw this addendum in there. Who do you think's buying toys, period? Do you think little kids are actually buying toys? Do you think they're nagging the shit out of their parents until they buy them the toys? Search your feelings, you know it to be true. Anyway, kidults who tend to spend more on toys have a great fondness for cartoons, superheroes, and collectibles that remind them of their childhood. Ding, 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 nostalgia, like I've been saying. They buy merchandise such as action figures, Lego sets, and dolls that might typically be considered quote unquote for kids. However, in recent years, toy makers have created product lines just for these consumers, realizing that demand is high for this generation of adults who still want to have fun. I mean, why wouldn't they basically take advantage of a demographic that's exploding, that's buying their product? Why wouldn't they make shit for them? That makes sense from a consumer standpoint. It is a little weird because, hey, these are traditionally, like they just said, for kids. Anyway, the definition of adulthood has definitely evolved, said Jeremy Padower, chief brand officer at toy company Jazzwares. What it used to mean to be an adult was to be very upstanding, serious member of society. And to do that, you had to demonstrate it intellectually, emotionally, and in every other single way. You wanted to fit in. You didn't want to look like a You wanted to be a normal adult. Now we feel a lot more free to express our fandom as part of our adulthood, he said. In the 70s and 80s, the toy business began to shift away from being an industry that was just about the next innovative item and embraced creating more product based on entertainment franchises. To be sure, there were toys based on movies and TV shows prior to this time, but this is when the trend kicked into high gear. In 1977, Star Wars launches, and you started seeing a lot more licensed product at retail, where we were celebrating our fandom with toys and collectibles, Padower said. At the time, the intended recipient was almost all kids, he explained. But those children that were born in the 70s and 80s were really the first generation that had this much licensing and this much product that was available for them to demonstrably get attached to. And it's not a big surprise then that those kids in their 30s and 40s that they continue to demonstrate that. This is kind of what Alan Moore was talking about in Watchmen with nostalgia and kind of, hey, how great were these toys actually? Or are we just kind of, tied to these feelings that we had at the time when we were little kids? And are we basically buying these toys now to somehow try to recapture and rehave those feelings? This kidulting trend started to rise in prominence around a decade ago as superhero movies and comic book culture exploded into the mainstream. It became more consequential to the bottom line of toy companies in the last 5 years, said James Zahn, editor in chief of the Toy Book and senior editor of the Toy Insider. So kids kind of started not giving a shit about toys. Hey, we just want mommy and daddy's phone. Hey, we just want to stare at the boob tube all the time. We want to have our own boob tube, make our own choices there. That's waning. Meanwhile, you've got kids who came up with this big wave of toys in the 70s and 80s, Star Wars toys, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, etc., that are having this nostalgia, have enough disposable income to kind of spend some money on this junk, this nostalgia junk, and have the time to kind of run around and buy this crap too because they're not having kids of their own. Anyway, toy manufacturers such as Lego embraced these consumers and created lines often tied to nostalgic entertainment properties just for this cohort. Hasbro's Black Series for action figures is a prime example of this, tapping into the desire for high quality Star Wars and Marvel collectibles. Even Mattel has lines from Barbie and Hot Wheels that are designed specifically for this group of buyers. Toy companies have even begun creating their own television and movie content in order to support toy lines. This is nothing new. Do you remember G.I. Joe? Do you remember Transformers? All this shit was basically, hey, we got some drawings here. Hey, why don't we take this to Marvel? Why don't we work together? I mean, it's a well-known, quote unquote secret that, comic book people ended up coming up with a lot of character traits, character names, the personalities of these characters. This is nothing new. We just want to, put a spin on it and pretend this is our idea. Mattel launched its own internal movie company and is set to release Barbie in July 2023, and Hasbro bought E1 and will set Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves in theaters in March. I mean, I both of those movies actually kind of look like, hey, they might be kind of fun to watch. Barbie's got Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling in it as Ken. It looks like it might be funny. I think it's got Will Ferrell in it too, who's kind of had a fall from grace. Had some dud movies, but it looks hopefully it'll be funny. Dungeons and Dragons, I can't remember off the top of my head, but that might have like Chris Pratt in it. It might have like a handful of named stars in it. It looks decent enough. It looks hey, it's like hey guys, it's like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, but like you don't have to know all that lore and bullshit. It looks kind of entertaining actually from the little I've seen. These films are not designed for young kids, instead catering to this older group of toy-loving consumers. Other brands, such as Funko, have always catered towards adult collectors who are in tune with their inner kid. In the last 12 months ending September, the Kidult group represented 60% of the dollar growth in the industry. Bing, bing, bing. Like I've been saying, 50%. Hey, that just kind of indicates, hey, it's more. In the last 12 months ending September, the Kidult Group represented 60% of the dollar growth in the industry, despite accounting for only a quarter of sales, according to NPD's checkout data. So it's been a huge windfall, said Julie Leonard, Vice President and Industry Advisor for NPD's U.S. toy practice. Still, the stakes remain high for the toy industry as it heads into the final weeks of the year. Inventory has been a major challenge for retailers across the board. Supply chain snafus threatened to make shelves bare for holiday shoppers last year, leading many big box stores to hedge their bets on how much merchandise to order and receive deliveries earlier than usual. As the supply chains loosened, many had excess inventory, leading to sharper discounts as demand waned. So, like we've seen in a lot of the toy collecting, the Hot Wheels collecting videos more recently, hey, approximately this last year, as we've been getting closer to Christmas, hey, stuff everywhere. We've got all kinds of stuff in the main aisles just sitting around. We've got stuff that we haven't even brought out yet, just kind of racking up, kind of sitting in the back somewhere, you know? Yeah, we've kind of seen this too. Some companies, such as MGA Entertainment, which is the manufacturer of LOL Surprise Dolls, what the fuck is this shit? Decided to offer more items that sell for under $15 in order to cater to more cost-conscious parents. Hey man, it's with sales, and isn't that crazy? $15 is like, oh my god, we got to get it under 15. You would think for toys, and it just goes to show you with inflation and how our economy is changing pretty rapidly right now. But $15 is the point here. We want to get it under $15. $10 is the new $5 bill. That's what I'm getting out there. Like $10, it's just like, it used to be, hey, we got to a point where like, hey, it's just a dollar. A dollar's kind of disposable, right? Hey, a dollar's no big deal, right? Now we've gotten to a point where, hey, $5. Oh man, can you even get like a big energy drink, or can you get a drink and a candy bar for less than $5, right? Hey, $5 is kind of just, hey, it's one single bill, it's no big deal. $5 to just throw on one thing ain't a big deal anymore, right? Now that's become 10. I think that's my take on that. CEO Isaac Laren told CNBC that the company had about 20 products that sold between $5 and 15 last year. This year there were more than 200. Woo! Now, I'll tell you what, that's some explosive growth, man. Adults, on the other hand, are a coveted consumer because they are often willing to spend more money than others on items for themselves. Right now, adult toy buyers are the reason for growth in the toy business, Laren said. Anyway, guys, I felt like pointing this out because number one, it's kind of reiterating a lot of what I've been saying already, a lot of what I've been seeing, and it makes me quote unquote right. So hey, that's cool. I like that. Also, another thing that this whole thing is really getting at and really saying, hey, it is what it is, but actually, isn't that great. And it doesn't say a lot of great things about me personally either, because hey man, I'm making these Toy Jizz videos. I'm a direct contributor to this state of affairs. But what's not great about this is that we have got a whole generation of developmentally arrested adults who are now, again, this isn't saying anything great about me in particular, but we've got a whole generation of adults who are developmentally arrested. They're still immature. They're probably not having kids. And if they are having kids, they're probably not a very good role model for them. It reminds me of that scene in Fight Club where he's bitching all these normal everyday workers, average Joes. He's bitching them all out, saying, God damn it, an entire generation pumping gas. And that's kind of what comes to mind here with this. If you're a company pumping out plastic in the shape of He-Man, yeah, this is great fucking news. But for everybody else, for me, for our generation, it's actually kind of sad and pathetic. And I mean, hey, am I gonna change this channel overnight? No. Am I gonna change my lifestyle overnight? No. Am I gonna kind of start looking towards maybe some hobbies that might be a little more substantial, that might be a little bit more becoming of an adult, instead of buying little cars for $1, buying pieces of plastic shaped like He-Man and Spawn? Maybe instead of just giving money to Hasbro and McFarlane Toys and whoever's sitting behind these companies, maybe there's something more productive we could shift our focus towards. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you this time. If this is your first time watching a Humane Garbeige video, please hit the subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications of new videos sent directly to your phone and inbox. Follow us on social media and stay tuned for another video from Humane Garbeige.